36.7 students. Think about that. You all experience it every day. That is, Senator, without exaggeration, one of the worst parking ratios on a college campus in the country. One of the worst. The only one that we've been able to find that is actually worse is the Berkeley campus at the University of California. All of our neighbors in the city and around higher education in New Jersey have ratios that are at least half as much as better as what we have here. So I don't mean to belabor the point about parking, but it's a huge problem and one that we constantly try to remedy. Provost Diner recently announced that we are close to completing the purchase of a third parking garage at the corner of Washington and Raymond Boulevards, which contains about 300 spaces. 300 spaces. So you do the math. While important and necessary, the gain in parking spaces is going to be very limited. As Senator Menendez mentioned and knows all too well, to reasonably help solve parking shortages in a highly dense urban environment really means that a balanced transportation plan needs to be developed. One that builds in discrete and environmentally sensitive parking requirements with transit-oriented development. Essentially, that includes new energy-efficient residential, retail, commercial development with structured parking, green space, and other amenities. So to that end, building on the leadership of Mayor Booker and the expertise of his staff in economic and housing development, I'm pleased to tell you that the City of Newark, the Newark Housing Authority, Rutgers Newark, and NJIT have together partnered on the creation of a request for expressions of interest to seek developers' interest in redeveloping about 50 acres within a 5 to 10 minute walk of the Broad Street Station area and the Rutgers Newark campus. This RFEI will include several Rutgers Newark parcels of land near the Broad Street Station, along with the current site of the CLJ parking lot. And the city intends to release this RFEI to the development community later this week. So check the city's website. This was an extensive planning process led by the deputy mayor with the full support of Mayor Booker, which we and NJIT participated in. While the results of this process will take years to implement, the vision of a transit-friendly district surrounding a major rail, light rail, and bus hub is extremely appealing to us. So let me close now on one smaller step that we're taking to encourage a more pedestrian-friendly and sustainable environment in and around the campus. Last fall, we were encouraged to develop a community-based effort to foster a more pedestrian-friendly environment along University Avenue, between Raymond Boulevard and the Broad Street train station, an area that many of you probably walk or ride through every day. With the assistance of all of our neighbors along University Avenue and the participation of the city administration, you may have noticed new sidewalks that replace broken ones, new lighting has supplemented inadequate lighting in the area, new fencing and new landscaping. Very shortly, we will be planting new street trees provided by the city along this path to help create a cooler, more comfortable urban environment, to reduce air pollution, and to improve the urban quality of life, a major objective of the Governor's New Jersey Cool Cities Initiative. So with that, let me again thank NJPIRG and Senator Menendez and my other panelists, and heard the opportunities, heard the challenges. We really do need your help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Provost, for being here on behalf of the Rutgers administration. Now we shall hear from a student leader, Carrie Dukeson, from the Student Governing Association.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Global Warming Forum today. I am speaking today as a representative of the Newark College of Arts and Sciences Student Governing Association. As a representative of students here on campus, I interact with students and talk with them about concerns that they have. And I can say firsthand, global warming is something that is on students' minds. I'd like to thank Senator Menendez on behalf of the students here at Rutgers Newark for leading the way on fighting global warming. By co-sponsoring the Lieberman-Warner bill, he's helping to make sure that America will do its part to reduce the effects of global warming. Global warming is a global problem. We cannot leave the city or state or country to escape it. America has always led the way in many things, and now they need to lead the way on fighting global warming. Rutgers-Newark is the most diverse campus in the nation. I look around and I see a microcosm of the world. And likewise, I would like to see our campus step up and do our part to fight global warming. As is the Rutgers tradition, we do not just want to follow the path, we want to lead the way. And so I ask Rutgers to lead the way in fighting global warming too. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Gary. Our next speaker is going to be Doug from Environment, New Jersey.
Thank you so much. My name is Doug O'Malley. I'm the field director for Environment, New Jersey. I wanted to thank my fellow panelists and the senator. But first, I just wanted to address, I guess, the topic of what this panel is supposed to focus on, and that's leadership. And I think we've seen some kind of good examples that my fellow panelists have touched on. But I just want to mention the fact that really the first part of leadership is knowing that there is a problem. So just the fact that all of you are here in this room to learn more about really what global warming means, what we can do about it, is kind of the first step on being a leader. Not everyone is in the U.S. Senate. And so the ability to kind of learn about these problems and act on them in whatever way we can is critical. And so it's very heartening to hear about the work here at Rutgers-Newark. And then to talk a little bit more, I want to get a chance to focus, before I talk about what the senator is working on in Washington on these issues, and the opportunity there to focus on what New Jersey is doing. Because we want to talk about leadership. New Jersey really is one of the premier examples in this country of not only acknowledging that global warming is happening, but taking steps to do something about it. New Jersey was one of the first states to have a strong clean energy standard of 20% of our energy coming from clean renewable sources by 2020. And New Jersey set a national precedent last year by passing the Global Warming Response Act, which will reduce emissions 20% by 2020 and 80% by 2050, which is consistent with what scientists have said we need to do. And I think that's really kind of the critical point to know, is that all of us in this room understand that global warming is a big problem. And the flip side of that is that it's a huge challenge to addressing it, and not everyone is on the same page. So even though the scientists from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change last year explicitly said we need to not only stop the increase in emissions, but start decreasing them, and that means to be changing the ways we're getting our energy, you're still seeing opposition on the state level, and then certainly in Washington, to these sort of changes. So I want to, I guess, make it clear that this is not certainly an easy change. I also want to talk about a bad example of leadership. And I can think of no greater example of a failure of leadership on the issue of global warming than right at the top with our White House, with President Bush, with his attempts to deny that global warming is happening and then to fail to act on it. And that is a failure that is reverberating because we are losing time. Jim Hansen, who is the head of NASA and who had some of his work edited to be toned down by the Bush administration, has explicitly said that we do not have a lot of time. We have a 10-year window, not only to stop the increase in emissions, but start to reduce them. And that's why this moment in time is so important. Kind of what we do locally, what we do in New Jersey, and what we're able to accomplish on the federal level is of paramount importance. And that's why I want to focus a little bit on the leadership of the senator, because the senator was the co-sponsor of the strongest bill proposed, the only bill that mirrors the scientific reductions that we need to see happen. He also, the senator mentioned his work to stop offshore drilling just a few weeks ago. He didn't mention his work to pass clean energy tax credits through the U.S. Senate. And really, I want to emphasize not just the role of Senator, but also his colleague, Senator Frank Lautenberg. They are paramount in kind of leading this charge because they know what the cost is going to be for New Jersey. And we have a moment right now. In the Senate, there is legislation, which was previously referred to the Lieberman-Warner global warming bill. It's the first bill that really starts to honestly look at how we're going to reduce global warming, and we're going to do it right now. Unfortunately, there's a lot of interest out there. The coal industry, the oil industry, the nuclear industry that's working to get their piece of the pie and working to push out the folks who really can get us to where we need to be. The correct way to be looking at solving global warming is to be promoting energy efficiency, is working to promote wind power. In New Jersey, we have a great opportunity with offshore wind. Be figuring out how to make solar work economically so that can be a growth industry, not just for the environment, but also for green jobs here in the state. And over the course of the next few months, the Senate is going to start debating the Lieberman-Warner bill. And we definitely look forward to